So, have you figured it out? Have you figured it out yet? That all these countries are trying to kill off their own citizens? Over time, you will. I just hope it don't be too late when you do. Hey, how's everybody doing? You know it's hard being cheery when you know all over the world people are suffering and they losing loved ones and everybody's in pain with all this disaster going on. Over the weekend, I was over my god brother's house and he lives about 3 hours away. And he had this huge cable package on his TV. He get all the channels and everything. So they had this one channel where it shows, I think it's called the News Mix, where it has 6 channels at the same time. And all 6 of them, 4 out of 6 at any given moment talking about the same thing at the same time. And one of the things they was talking about was the Super Bowl, which when I got there over my god brother's house, the Super Bowl was just starting. I haven't watched the game in so long. I don't even know the play. I didn't even know who was playing. Matter of fact, I didn't even know it was Super Bowl weekend. So they was talking about that, and 4 channels at the same time talking about the Russian-Ukraine war, and 4 at the same time talking about the Syria and Turkey earthquake. And man, I really feel bad for those people. Man, 40,000 plus. You know, it's like most people that's in the know already assume that it's HARP. And there's hundreds of HARPs all over the world. So you don't know who did it, but we all know what did it. So I don't know who did it, but could be their own government, could be US, could be anybody. So 40,000 plus, man, that's bad. But the biggest thing they was talking about on the news was these damn balloons. And if you follow me on Patreon, I already hinted that the United States may have been responsible for that very first one. I just think the United States had their hand in there. Now they saying they finding parts made in the U.S. But I already said that. I already knew it was U.S. because they did a test in 1958.
Yucca, the first of the 3 high-altitude shots, was prepared and launched from the flight deck of the aircraft carrier USS Boxer. All of Yucca's blast and nuclear radiation instrumentation and a portion of the thermal instrumentation were concentrated in 5 canisters suspended below the weapon at intervals out to 3,000 feet.
Doing this same exact test, so I just knew it was US. But now they trying to say that all these other things now they UFOs. They pushing the UFO card, and I'm telling you now, this is the fake UFO card. They're going to throw the real one out there eventually, but this is the fake one. I think this is a test run to see how the people react, and they want to keep everybody distracted. And you already know why they're keeping everybody distracted, because it was 2 things that they were not talking about on all 6 of those channels. One was COVID, nobody talking about COVID, and then the disaster in Ohio, the train wreck in Ohio. Every other country getting it except the United States. Of course, they got a film called White Noise, which you already know, which the name is fitting. That's what they're doing. They're giving us white noise. We ain't hearing nothing about it. Probably why they call it white noise. And it's just too silly to call this one a coincidence. That would be an insult. This is more like deliberate. I'm not going to get all into it because you already know the story. The question you should be asking yourself is, when are we going to stand up and do something about it? Because they know they keep getting away with so much, they do more shit. I'll give you a perfect example. Brazil, they talking about cutting people's benefits if they don't get inoculated. What kind of mess is that? How can you do that to your own people? And I think they was talking about a social security benefit as well. I don't know, it's different things. Welfare, I mean not welfare, but it could be welfare, child support. They're gonna cut their benefit if they don't get inoculated. That's some bullshit. And remember, all 6 of those channels, none of them was talking about COVID. None of them talking about the flu. I mean, why they got to get inoculated for? What's the big rush now? So they're going to push the next big outbreak. They're keeping everybody distracted. They really working hard on depopulating this planet. Every different kind of means necessary. They already poisoning the water. They don't give a shit about the animals. They're killing them off. Oh man. If I had the power to just take them all out, I would. I definitely would, and I'll go out with them. If I could blow myself up with them, I would do it. But here's what you need to keep in mind. Remember that old ass Joe, man, he is just a disgusting creep, man. I'm telling you, Biden, that bastard done signed the country away, or his clone signed the country away. Remember that Declaration of North America, DNA, where they made Canada, United States, and Brazil one whole unit? So now we one whole unit. If one does one thing, the rest of the country gonna follow. But here's the catch. Now, if we one unit with Brazil, right? I don't know if anybody remember. Nobody's talking about it. But isn't Brazil part of the BRICS nation, where they united with China and Russia? And then Brazil is also one unit with United States and Canada now. I'm telling you, they pushing into one world order. They keeping us distracted. I'm looking at it. They closing it up. They making it seem like we gonna be in a war. They in the war with the people. They in the war with us. That's what the war is about. And all these countries are depopulating, including Russia. They depopulating their own people. And then they're going to close everything up into one world order. And Brazil, keep your eye on Brazil. That's the key right there. That's the one that's connecting everything. Because it don't make any damn sense. How you going to be part of one nation and then be part of the other nation, and then nobody piecing this together? I don't see nobody talking about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm seeing too much into it, but that don't make any sense to me. How you going to be part of the Declaration of North America and then you part of the BRICS nation, and then they trying to come up with their own currency? I mean, people got to start putting two and two together and start waking up. I mean, I don't know what to say. But while I got your attention, look at this gem I found. I've been looking for this video for a long time. I finally found it. It's 12 years old, and they played it on the Super Bowl, I guess 12 years ago. They only played it once, and I was hoping to catch it again because I didn't know what they was talking about, but I finally found it. Check this video out. Sorry, I had to pause it, but this is from 12 years ago. Look at the date, 2030. Always keep that in mind. 2030 is the goal.
为什么强大的国家都会走向灭亡呢？古希腊、罗马帝国、不列颠帝国、美国，因为他们都犯同样的错误，与原来使得他们成功的原则背道而驰。美国政府企图以庞大的开支和税收来摆脱严重的经济衰退，巨额的所谓刺激开支。 庞大的医疗改革，政府接管私有企业，债务累累。当然，我们是他们的大债主。现在他们都得给我们干活。
You can change the future. You have to. Join Citizens Against Government Waste to stop the spending that is bankrupting America.
Isn't that what's happening right now? I mean, who don't see that coming? That's been stuck in my head for years, but I could not find that commercial. I didn't know who made it. I didn't know what it was about, and I was waiting for it to come on again, but it never came on. And there's another one too, where the corporate buildings, all the corporates was collapsing, and it was only one that was standing was China Corporation, but it was in America, and their flags was like a blend between China and America. It was a different kind of flag, like half and half, China and American flags, all around these corporate buildings. And during that same time, 60 Minutes did a piece on how much debt that the China owned of America. And they said over time, China would own America. And this was years ago, decades, over a decade. But I finally found it. So, and I've been talking about they have Chinese buying up all these acres of land. They got a Chinese police force. I tell you, we was already invaded. They already here. And I've been talking about this mainly on Patreon because YouTube's so fucking funny. And they always got me cursing because I can't stand YouTube, man. So I've been saying that the warehouse is stocked with stuff that's coming from China. They keep on talking about this war with China. They in bed with China. I've been talking about this for a while. Like I said, only on Patreon, because for all I know, YouTube might even delete this one because I'm talking about their boss. So they're gonna China already got a lot of their hands all over America. This country is almost lost. Even the Biden's on China's payroll. And you know what's sad? And I also talking about this on Patreon, because usually I talk about personal stuff on Patreon. One of my co-workers called me a couple of days ago, and he's one of the more aware ones than the other people at the job. I was so surprised that he didn't know about the Declaration of Declaration of North America. He didn't know about the bank runs that's going to happen. It's a lot of stuff he didn't know, but he's more aware than everybody else in it. When he don't know that much, and I knew he was more aware when I left that job, that means a lot of people are unaware what's going on. They're going to be blindsided, and that's going to hurt us in the end, because they doing a real good job of not showing stuff, keeping everybody distracted with bullshit. YouTube got a whole bunch of crap that they got high subscribers watching dumb shit, and they're getting so many views. It's just crazy, man. And I don't know what to tell you. And these AI, you know what? I'm planning on doing a live coincidence video, because I realized something. I realized that very first coincidence video, that was before the inoculation. Now I don't know about the second one. I had to look at the date, but the more I did it, the less people was having coincidences that, you know, just like the first one. It was having a less effect, because I think AI is actually, once it's exposed, AI is controlling everybody else's thought that's looking at that video. So if I do a live, AI cannot control it. So I'm gonna do it. It's an experiment. I want to check something out. So be ready for that. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I'm planning on doing that, because I gotta know something. Anyway, this is a short video. I had to rant a little bit because I had to get that out my system, because it just so much going on. I had to say something, and I hope people are aware of what's going on. And another thing too, I was that popped in my head. I heard one guy, I don't know who the guy was, I forgot where I heard this story from, and he was saying something about all this gold that these countries are storing up. And it was like, what are they storing this gold up for? They were saying that we're not using it for a jewelry or electronic. We're not using the gold. He said, why are people digging up, mining gold just to bury it in the ground again? Who are they holding it for? And he was also saying that, are they holding it for an alien race like the Anunnaki? And you got to think about it. When going back to the other videos, I was saying that we were slaves, and that's why that's another thing too. Going back to my other video about this is an experiment, codename Earth video that I had to change because of YouTube. We were a slave race, and since we were a slave race, we are an experiment, so they could do things to us. And that's why the so-called Christian God is not intervening, because we are an experiment. They could do whatever they want to us, and it's up to us to fight back. But now they changing the genetic code and all this, because God told Adam and Eve, the Christian God told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply. To me, that's translation into create more slaves for us and dig for this gold, and we'll be back in so many thousand years to come back and collect, which it kind of makes sense. It sounds far-fetched, but it kind of makes sense. I guess we'll find out in 2030. It may not be, but I mean, if we're still around, we're going to find out probably around 2030. So they having all these slaves, human slaves, and this planet got so many aliens around it. There's so many videos of all these aliens with the reptilians and all this stuff going on, and they know we're a slave race. That's why they doing all this stuff to us, taking our kids, and these kids disappearing. So they making all these we making all these slave race with sex, of course, and we digging up all the gold for them to store for the Anunnaki to come collect. So they're gonna, are they hoarding all this gold for the Anunnakis to come collect? That could be. Anyway, thank you for listening to me, and I'll talk to you real soon, because there's always something going on. It's just I just had to put it together real quick. My mind be running 100 miles a minute, because there's a lot of things that I remember that I wanted to say, and then I'm talking about one thing, and a couple of other thoughts pops in my head, and I can't really get into it, because it'll be too scrambled, and I'll get people confused, which is why I write things down, because man, it just so many thoughts flash in my head. Anyway, I'm not going to hold you up any longer. There's 3 things you need to keep in mind every time you see a disaster happen. What does that have to do with depopulation? What does that have to do with one world government? And what does that have to do with 2030? If they all connect to that, then you know that this has something to do with one world order. Because I'm telling you, all these countries working together. All world leaders are working together. So far, I'm still seeing that. I'm the only one that's saying that. But just to let you know that over time, those depopulation, one world government, and 2030 going to all start merging together. The closer we get to 2030, they're going to start merging together. And if we could break it up before it does, we can win. But the problem is, it's not the people waking up fast enough. The problem is, will they wake up fast enough before they die off? That's the problem. So we in a race with time with these, you know what's going on, because you know how YouTube is. There's a race between waking up people before they take a permanent nap. That's the best way I could say it. Well, anyway, everybody, thank you for listening to me. And of course, I'll have another video soon, because they always give me something to talk about. And I'll talk to you real soon. Everybody have a great day and take care of yourself. Be safe. Peace.